I'm 3 weeks and 4 days into the Built by Brock 8-week challenge, and my goal in this 8 weeks is to drop 3 to 4 kilos of body fat. You might think because I'm trying to lose fat that I have to do high reps and low weight to burn more calories in the gym, but let me show you how I like to train even when I'm trying to lose fat. The first superset of the workout is a back squat with a seated leg curl. So I'm just doing a couple of warm-up sets here with my back squat. I'm doing a low bar back squat, so it's positioned across my rear deltoids as opposed to my traps if I was doing a high bar back squat. And with the low bar back squat, since it's lower down on my back, I can have a slight lean forward because the barbell wants to be over the middle of your foot. That's where you're going to be most stable and most strong. So that's where you want to set up the low bar squat. I just did 80 for a set of 8. Then I did a warm-up set on my seated leg curl. This is a plate loaded one. Those are two 25 kg plates. So it's just 50 kilos on the seated leg curl. Nothing crazy, but just a set of 8 to get the blood flowing and to warm up. I literally just finished filming a YouTube video that will go up just before this one. And my legs were already very warm from training that. It was about squats and leg press, toning up the butt. And I didn't need to do that many warm-up sets. So this is my last warm-up set for the back squat, the view from the back. So you can see different aspects of the squat, what my body's doing. This isn't to try and thirst trap my glutes because, you know, there's nothing that impressive about my glutes, but this is just a different view. And the thing that I like to look at when I'm squatting is if I'm, like from this view, if I'm shifting from left to right. As you can see, this is pretty good. I'm sitting nice and deep. If you look at my knees, they're not coming in, they're staying out. The biggest thing with your knees is you want them in line with your toes. So whether you point your toes out quite wide or relatively straight, it doesn't really matter as long as they are in line. You know, obviously you don't want to go too wide with your feet that it feels unnatural, but you want to make sure that your knees are in line with your toes. And I like to think of making sure the plane lands on the runway, your knees being the plane and your feet being the runway. This is my first working set, 120 kilos for 8 reps. As you can see, the barbell, I just want going straight up and down over the middle of my foot. And I'm going for 8 reps here. I'm using a weight belt. And with that weight belt, I'm doing deep diaphragmatic breaths. And when I'm breathing in, I'm like pushing my stomach out and filling my diaphragm up with air like a balloon. And then this is superset with the seated leg curl. There is 90 seconds rest in between, or maybe it's 2 minutes, I'm not too sure, but there's a significant amount of time to rest in between these exercises. Now, with the 8 reps, I put on an extra 5 kilo plate, so I'm doing 55 kilos for 8 here, making sure I'm pulling myself down into the seat and driving my heels down. Now, this is my second set. And with the structure of the first phase of the Built by Brock program, it goes 8, 7, 6, 5 for each exercise. So this is 7 reps, and I've gone up 5 kilos here. So I've gone from 120 to 125. That's 2, that's 3. And as you can see, with my upper body, I'm not resting. My elbows are pulling down and back. I pull down to engage my lats. I pull back to engage my upper back, and that keeps my upper body solid. And you want to think of a squat as a full body exercise. Yes, your legs are the prime movers, they're moving the weight, but if your upper body's chill, then you're not going to be as strong as you could be if you had a really locked in upper body. Now this is the second set of the seated leg curl. As you can see, I just put on a little 2.5 kilo here, so now I'm doing 52.5. I'm doing 7 reps here. Now, when you're doing something like a descending rep method, you want to make sure you're increasing every weight because you're going down in reps. You need to make sure that you're increasing in weight. If you're doing the same weight for 8, 7, 6, 5, that weight that you're doing for 5 is not going to be hard enough because you did it for 8. So make sure that you're increasing at least 2 to 3% in between sets. If you're increasing by more than 2 to 3%, it's probably because the first set wasn't heavy enough. So make sure that you're doing that. So this is my third set here. So I'm doing 6 reps of 130 kilos. As you can see, my ascent is becoming a little bit slower, so I'm getting close to failure in that set. And with hypertrophy, you want to be at least 1 to 2 reps in reserve away from failure, and that's going to guarantee that you're going to build muscle from that. Now with this set for 6 reps, I added another 2.5. So I went from doing, 50, 55. Now I'm doing 60 for 6. And here's my last set for 5 reps. I put it on the side so you can really see if the barbell is going up and down. That's what we want. We don't want it to go forward or back. We want it to go directly up and down in line with the middle of your foot. That's going to be a textbook squat. So here we go. That's pretty solid. Look, if we can line that up, that's going to be as strong as possible. Like if the heaviest weight that's on your back, like the squat, is in line with the center of gravity of your body, you're going to be as stable and as strong as possible. If you lean too far forward, you might tip forward or just not be able to lift as much weight. If you lean too far back, you might want to fall back, or you're just going to be unstable and not be able to lift as much weight. The goal of any exercise, if you want to be as strong as possible, is to be as stable as possible. Now this is getting pretty tough too. Driving my heels back, giving a good squeeze at the bottom of the rep where it's the hardest, and then we're moving on. So that was 8, 7, 6, 5. Now we're going on to, I dread these, 8, 7, this is 10 reps of the alternating dumbbell reverse lunge. So with this, I'm not going to be increasing or decreasing weights, but what I've been doing is increasing the weight every week, and that's the principle of progressive overload, and you must be hitting that if you're interested in building muscle and getting stronger and making progress in the gym. So for the first week, I did 22.5 for 10 reps each side. For the second week, I did 25. For the third week, I did 27.5, and this is the last week of the program, so you want to go pretty close to failure, and I did 30 for 10 reps each leg, and this was just a dread. Like, as you can see, if you look at my head, I'm just looking down at the floor. Like, I don't even want to look up in the mirror. I just want to look down, get in the zone, and just pump them out, because to be honest, I enjoy 0% of this. Now, with the dumbbells, they can sometimes be heavy for your wrists. I got pretty good grip strength, so that 30 was okay. But if you do struggle with it, then you can use wrist wraps. So here I'm doing leg extension. So those are the 225 plates again with a 25 on the end. So a total of 75 kilos on the leg extension, and I'm going for 10 reps again. And once again, this is heavier than last week's weight. That's the goal when you have just a single number. You may need to increase or decrease in the first week whilst you're figuring out the weight, but this is pretty close to my failure on this exercise. And I have a bit of a sore right knee from jiu-jitsu, so I can't really push too hard on the leg extension yet. Once again, just getting in the zone. I'm not changing weights, I'm just doing the same 30, but every set's getting slightly harder, and I'm just looking down, getting in the zone. If you look at my feet, I'm not pretending I'm on a tightrope. So if I was lunging, and I see a lot of people do this, when they lunge as if they're walking on a tightrope, like one foot is in front of the other. You want your feet to be in line with your shoulders. I like to think of standing on railway tracks. You know, railway tracks are beside each other. And that's how you want to lunge, that's how you want to split squat, because once again, coming back to what I said in the low bar squat, it's more stable. And the more stable you are, the more weight you're going to be able to lift because you're in a stable position. So the same goes with the lunges. So as you can see, I put a resistance band around the weights. If you can zoom in on that, that'll be good. You can see that because I'm scared, like, every time I do a rep up, it kind of slides down the weight a little bit because it's almost maxed out. Like, there's no more room on that. I'm maxing that out. Unless I had a skinnier, like more 25 kg skinnier plates, but that's 75 kg for another 10 reps. Absolutely cooking me. Last set, we're doing 3 sets of 10, and these are supersetting once again with 90 seconds rest in between. So with the reverse lunges, I like to go until my knee touches the ground. I don't count reps if I don't touch the ground. And if my knees, don't touch the ground, then I don't count it and I redo the rep. It can be a little bit over the top. And some people say, oh, hitting the ground hurts my knees. That's fine for you. I just like to have the standard of doing full range of motion when possible. Not because I think that that's best for hypertrophy, because it's been shown recently that partial reps in the lengthened position can actually be very good. But I like to keep as much mobility and flexibility as possible. And the thing with lifting weights is it's like loaded stretching. So people talk about stretching to increase their flexibility, and that is true, it can do that. But if you're lifting weights and you do it through a full range of motion, that can also help. It's kind of like dynamic stretching, but it's loaded and you have weight on it, so it's going to stretch the muscle even potentially even better because there's weight on it. It's loaded stretching, so it's working the muscle even more. There we go. That's my last set on leg extension. Now we're moving on to the last two exercises together that are done in the superset, and this is the dumbbell Romanian deadlift. The biggest cue for this one is driving your butt to the back wall. A big mistake that people do is they try and touch the floor, like they lean over, and then they get this rounded back, and it doesn't feel good for their lower back. It's just no good. Push your butt back. That's what you want to think. Pushing your butt back, and keep the dumbbells as close as you can to your body. Once again, keeping them close to your center of gravity. That's going to help you be as strong as possible. And the last exercise is a hack squat. So I'm doing 50 kilos here. This doesn't feel the greatest on my knee, but the physio said that I can handle pain. If it feels, worse in the morning, then I pushed it too far. But it actually feels pretty good today, which is the next day. I did this last night. So I didn't push it too far. He said it's good to challenge it, but just don't overdo it. It's actually going to help me strengthen my knee. It's a grade 1 tear in my lateral collateral, if you're interested. So I'm doing 10 reps here. And once again, the weight stays the same. I'm just trying to lift heavier than the previous weeks that I did. But if you look at my feet, they're sliding out. These shoes are not good for this exercise, or just for this platform, because I'm sliding off the hack squat. So that kind of affected me there. I had to regather myself between, some reps. Okay, straight into the Romanian deadlift. As you can see, pushing my butt back. Dumbbells are super close. I like to put my hands at an angle where my legs fit in between the weights of the dumbbell, because I'm dealing with pretty big dumbbells, and as you get stronger and stronger, you'll deal with them too. But you want your legs in this one to go in the gap of where your hands are for the Romanian deadlift, because that way then the dumbbells can stay closer to you, which once again will help you to be strong. Here we are, the hack squat. I'm going all the way to full range of motion for this machine. I can't go any lower. Every time it's kind of touching the bottom, but I do have to regather my feet, as if you kind of just stare at my feet right now, you can see that they kind of slide up. So I need to bring them close to my body. So that also helps me get more knee flexion or quads if I bring my feet closer to the bottom. If I put my feet further away, it's actually going to bias a little bit more towards the glutes. Now we are approaching the last set of the workout. Here we are. I did it from the back here so you can see a little bit of a tricep flex there. Check that out. Now, once again, not a thirst trap, but just showing you what the form looks like from different angles. I don't want to shoot the exercise from the same angle every time, but as you can see, back's nice and straight. Driving my butt back, hands are straight. We don't want to bend them. If we bend our arms, then our biceps are taking the weight, and our forearms, we just want our arms to be straight so that we're not relying on muscles to hold the dumbbells, like our forearms and our biceps, but just our forearms are going to work anyway in the grip strength, but if we curl our arms, then it's going to be worse. Here we are, the hack squat, the last set, mate. Driving it, bringing it home. This workout took me about an hour 15. I was pretty smashed, to be honest. Now I'm going to have to regather soon because my feet are sliding off the edge. I'll have to ditch these shoes every time I do the hack squat. I have done this in bare feet and it felt awesome, but I just didn't do it. I was just like, I'm just going to keep these on, just free adjust. I don't know why. I should have done it. It would have been easier. But there we are. Finishing there. That is my last hack squat. And that's how I train legs all year round, whether I'm cutting or whether I'm in a calorie surplus. Just remember, with fat loss, nutrition is the thing that's going to get you the bang for buck progress into that calorie deficit. to drop body fat. But that hard training, that heavy training, even low rep training when you're in a calorie deficit is going to be the thing that maintains your muscle mass as you try to get shredded, try to get lean, try to drop body fat, or just to lose weight in general. If you like watching this workout, then you're going to also love this video as well, because this is an upper body workout that I did at the beginning of this challenge. Check it out.